you're releasing your second feature film, Suicide Tourist, and you were able to get Nikolaj on board, such a world-famous actor for Game of Thrones. How did you convince him? I guess it was not the paycheck.
Paycheck? No. Actually, I mean, Nikolaj was. I wanted at least Nikolaj to play this role from the very beginning. So I got him on board pretty early by sending the script.
Well, actually, it was Barbara.
No, actually, that's right. Sorry, you're right. Yeah,
Who's Barbara?
Right.
Barbara Muschetti.
Oh, yeah.
I was working with Barbara and Andy Muschetti, the director and producers. They did a movie called Mama. They just did It and It Too. Yes. And they are friends with him.
Yeah,
I got an email from Barbara saying you should meet Jonas. So
Right,
that's how it worked.
I sent a mail to Barbara. I said, Barbara, could you send me Nikolaj's mail address? I'd like to send him a script. I sent him a script. We have common friends. Then he responded immediately. We went out for lunch or something. And then actually, this was pretty early. Yes. I think it was a year and a half before we actually went on the shoot.
Why such a small movie and not another, Hollywood blockbuster?
I liked the story. I thought it was an interesting. I loved the idea, the dilemma of the character, a guy who wants to live and he wants his love, but he's so afraid of the unknown future that he decides to choose the most extreme. Choose death. And I like the idea to tell a story that is 100% from his point of view, that you never know what's real and what's in his mind. And towards the end, you realize, well, this is getting really surreal. And maybe you understand as an audience, hey, this can't be, this must be something else. I loved that. But it was, as you said, it was easy in the beginning. And then, of course, we got closer. And then I started questioning everything, which I had to, because it is a complex story, and I had to find my way and understand why is it real here, is it not real? Because I guess in some ways I like to be in control, and so the idea of letting loose, letting go of control is something that I can relate to.
I guess your name is of quite a big value after Game of Thrones. Is this also a way of helping the film industry in your home country,
I
Denmark?
wish I could say I was such a saint, but no. This is all very. I just like this story, and I don't worry about it being a small film or Danish or American. I try to. I'm very lucky being able to work both places, and yes, it's great that. Game of Thrones has afforded me that luxury, and it also makes sometimes a movie like this easier to get made, because you can gain some interest, or you can sit down and suddenly we talk to you now, which is fantastic.
Was it easier to finance this movie because such a big name, because you already have the attention?
Of course, it helped with Nikolaj because he's such a big name. So of course, as Nikolaj is saying, it creates a certain interest, but it was. I mean, it's always difficult because the idea is. I mean, even though the idea is universal and it has, it's still a film that is, how do you say? It's not a Gone in 60 Seconds kind of movie. It comes with a different audience. It might be a smaller audience, so you have to have people who has a filmic interest in these kinds of films to finance this project.
The topic of Suicide Tourist is euthanasia, and in Switzerland it's legally allowed to do that. So I was wondering, did you look into Switzerland when you were doing your research?
It's funny because we've talked about it, but coming here to Switzerland, of course, it has a whole different meaning, and we've shown the movie other places. We haven't had this discussion because for us it was never about a movie about assisted suicide. It's not a realist drama like that. When he goes to this crazy hotel at the top of the mountain where people reenact whatever fantasy you can make up, it's not necessarily a real place. So I don't want to pass, it's not a pro or against assisted suicide.
We're using, the assisted suicide, the suicide hotel as a dramatic tool to tell his story or this story. So hopefully, the audience feels the same. I mean, You're
also very outspoken about gender equality.
Yes.
What opened your eyes for the still existing inequality?
Well, I don't think I'm a goodwill ambassador for the UNDP, and I think the just reading the statistics and the numbers kind of shocked me. I always knew that gender inequality was an issue, but then when you look at the numbers on a global scale, it's mind-boggling. And and clearly something that we have to deal with.